morning, good afternoon, wherever you guys joined in. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I do watercolors. I go through what's running in my head, and then we can do a simple watercolor. I wouldn't call this particular watercolor simple. I would say this is a little more intermediate. What I'm doing at the moment is a night scene, and this one I kind of recording it audio after I finished my video. So I'd done a video. I thought my audio was recorded. For some reason the audio was not recorded, so I'm just overlaying the audio at the moment. So this is a quarter, 1/8 of a sheet. I use Saunders paper, so it's a rough Saunders, and the pencil I'm using over there is a 6B Faber-Castell mechanical pencil. If any of you geeks want to know what exactly the pen I'm using. And on the right hand side I have a Magello palette. So it looks messy, but that's a good sign. I would be very wary of people who got a very clean palette, or if you're an OCD person, want to clean your palette over and over again. That's up to you, but I tend to use the grays. When I want a gray, I kind of clean the palette, and then usually gives me a nice gray. So the sheet I'm using is 1/8 of a sheet, so it's just half the size of a quarter sheet. And as you see, the drawings are very economical, and I'm drawing it a little more. I'm not worried about the lines sticking up. And then also for people who are new to this channel, there are a lot of the videos I go through step by step. So each painting can be broken down into 4 steps, irrespective of what the matter is. In this case, the step 1 is the drawing, step 2 is the kind of wash, and then the midtones and the highlights. Okay, in this one, I'm going to do the wash, and then we'll go through that. And also keep in mind, this video was recorded a while ago. I can't remember exactly how it was, but since it's me, I'm going to try to see if I can remember how I processed, or at least render this painting. So I like cityscapes, and this one is in the evening, so it's got a lot of dark colors, and we go from there. So in terms of the colors on the side, while we are drawing, I can say from the top right hand corner, it's so the focus I should have turned the focus to manual. At the moment it's autofocus, so it's switching from my hand to the paper, so it's a bit annoying. Apologies. Next video I'm going to try to make the camera focus manual to the paper, so that irrespective of what happens, it's kind of focused onto the paper. Let it focus back on the palette so that we can do. This is a little bummer. I didn't realize that. I'm now wondering if there are other videos where I've kept autofocus, which I should have done with a manual focus. I used to record with my phone on a side angle. I bought a new Sony camera, and then even though it's capable of doing fantastic recording, I am still a little new to that. So, sort of completed the drawing, and from the top right hand corner, if you're interested in the colors, it's top right hand, lemon yellow, yellow ochre, burnt umber, raw umber, lavender, burnt sienna, Algerian red. That one is Windsor red. Is it Windsor red? I'm just trying to think about. Sorry, that one is a cadmium red, and that is Windsor red. Cerulean blue, cobalt blue, cerulean blue, ultramarine, cobalt blue, turquoise, viridian green, sap green, purple, Payne's gray, and some white. I think that one is a titanium white, if I can recall. And the brush wise, I kind of switch between calligraphy brush and a mop brush. So I'm so used to using some of these calligraphy brushes. This one's going to be a little annoying, apologies again. So I'm just using lavender. I'm just picking in some color for the sky. And as I said, it's like, so it's focusing on my hand instead of the painting. I am not happy that it happened, but I've recorded it. I will put it online because I think you can still see the process. So this one's going to have a lot of orange and yellows wherever there's lights are. And some, I'm just using more and more lemon yellow. Probably we could have used some Indian yellow, or this is a little bit of white. Yeah, I'm just trying to make it a little lighter as where it gets closer to the light source. So I'm mixing a little bit of cadmium red, light Windsor red. So the cadmium red is quite, I like the color. It it's very strong, but also it's easy to spread. There's some of the colors, I don't know whether you guys noticed, they're much more easy to flow, and there's some just stay there. Like an Algerian, it's easy to move the pigment around, and some of the pigments like to just stay there. So I'm just using lots of yellows and bright red. I'm picking up some, lifting off some colors where I want to make it even more lighter. A little bit of white. I'm just having a piece of tissue with my hand to download a record. So more and more yellow. I'm leaving few areas where it might be the brightest. So the brightest white, I'm using the paper itself. So this painting is slightly different from the normal wash, is because I'm just trying to being a little more careful, using a slightly smaller brush. But you could still consider it as a wash, because I'm still applying those same principles, but a little more methodically and a little more slowly. Yeah. My other paintings are generally a big brush, very quick wash. By now I would have finished the wash. This one, I'm just paying a little more attention. And this is a small calligraphy brush. When you look at the edge, I kind of cut them so that it fits my box or my bag, whichever I'm taking for plein air. And this Saturday I'm doing a live video at Cambridge Bayard Gallery. I don't know when this video is going to come in, either this Sunday or it might come in next Sunday. So if it comes in this Sunday, I'm just telling you that's what's going on. And then also for journalists who haven't watched my YouTube, I have a brand new podcast called Wet on Wet Podcast, where my job is to interview amazing watercolor artists. And the goal is to tease out practical tips and tricks where we can apply in our day-to-day watercolor journey. So it's been fun. I've got 6 episodes. Some of the names are like Don Weller, Lauren McCracken, Daniel Martinez. There's all master watercolor artists. And I've got another 10 or 9 videos which I've already recorded. I'm doing it twice a month. That's my capacity at the moment. Hopefully at some stage I'm going to try to do maybe once a week. I don't have the bandwidth at the moment. So I'm trying to do that. It would be great if you guys just have a look and then share and like and drop a comment and then spread the word around. Again, these are fantastic artists. Listen to their story about how their watercolor process is, how they get motivated, how they deal with criticism, anything and everything under the sun. We kind of discuss about pricing. There are a lot of valuable tips. And these are watercolor artists. These are not just any watercolor, any artist. So this channel is very unique to just watercolor. That's my specialty, and then I want to pursue my interest in just a very specific niche of watercolor at the moment. And in this painting, what I'm trying to do is like I'm darkening the areas. So this is, again, it's a evenings theme which has lots of lights. So everywhere else it's going to start getting darker. So the wash, as you saw, I left lots of whites and then yellows wherever there is the light reflecting. And it's a night scene. There's a car, there's about 6-7 people, and there's a couple of buildings, a little bit of sky. And now it's a matter of painting, and all I'm seeing is my hand. So this is a good lesson for me to, first of all, put the camera on an angle so that my hand doesn't get focused. So it's been a blessing in disguise, because the audio didn't record. I'm just recording the audio and I'm seeing all the faults, which the camera angle, I'm going to try to make sure that it's not directly from the top, at slightly a small angle so that you can see, and then also not keep the focus auto, do it manual on the paper. So lesson learned. Hopefully the next things will work. And then again, I'm just adding some details, just enough details so that there is you can make out there is buildings and other things, but not so much that it's an illustration. So I'm using some ultramarine, some cooler shadows. So it's always fun to mix some warm colors with cool colors. So the brush had a little bit of red, so you can see some purples, but you're mixing some warm colors with cool colors. So the whole painting is towards the warmer tone, and you're slowly moving towards the lighter tone. The cooler tones. So I'm switching to a smaller brush to add a couple more details. Again, that one is cadmium light. And then pyrrole orange, Winsor Newton. I think those are really good colors. They're so bright, you can't use them a lot, but in a painting like this, it's a joy to use a lot of those colors. There is a fish market in Venice which has huge red drapes. So who's and who of painters, when they go to Venice, they tend to paint that area or that particular scene. I've done a couple of them where the whole painting is, you can use really red colors. I think also any of the flamingo or other scenes in Chinese watercolors and other things, a lot of paintings are very red, or in the evenings. So I started my watercolor journey. It's been almost 15 years now. So I think I started in 2011, 2012. And when I look at my old paintings, there's definitely a huge improvement, but also it's painstakingly difficult to watch my old paintings. It's so amateurish, and there's no words. I should probably put some photo comparison from the time when I started to where I am right now. And I'm hoping that in next 5 to 10 years, when I look at these paintings, I'll feel the same, that I see a lot more lessons to be learned, and then I improve it. That's the way I try to think about it, but it's a slow process. You got to put your miles behind your brush. I don't know whether you guys have read, there's a book called 10,000 Hours by Malcolm Gladwell. That book was quite popular because he coined the phrase of 10,000 hours. If you want to master any subject, you want to at least put 10,000 hours into it. He gives example of Beatles and many other people who have spent more than 10,000 hours to be who they are. And I feel I'm getting close to 10,000 hours. Maybe I will easily have done more than 5,000 hours, I would say. But maybe I'm getting close to 10,000 hours. 10,000 hours is like painting every day, almost a few hours every day for like 3 to 5 years. I've been painting, but not, I've got a 9 to 5 job. I work as a mechanical engineer, and then we can go from there. So in terms of the painting, I'm using, as I said, is like cooler colors to do the reflection. In between, purposefully, I'm leaving some yellow background. That's what is reflecting the lights. So as you see, I'm using gray, ultramarine blue, and then warmer colors. And when you look at it, I'm just going through some shades, some shapes. And then also I'm using the side of the brush. If you notice it, I'm not just using the tip. When I'm drawing it, I'm being very quick. And then there is no trying to be very soft about it. So you want to be bold, intentional lines, some horizontals, some mainly vertical lines. And I'm adjusting the colors as we go. And I'm mixing, there's a lot of mixing going on in the paper while it's coloring as well. Yeah. So that one kind of gives you, there's a lot of water, even though this is the third step. Remember the steps I talked about? Drawing is the step 1, step 2 is the wash, step 3 is the medium or the second wash, and step 4 is the highlight. So all the painting, no matter what the subject is, you can always finish them into 4 steps. So I'm just doing the city line or the urban line, and I'm slowly adding in some darker colors. So there's no particular order whether you want to finish top to bottom or bottom to top. Ultimately what matters is the taste of the pudding, or in this case how the painting looks in the end, right? There's no technique which is right or wrong, in my opinion. I'm not a classically trained artist. I'm a mechanical engineer, and I try to think about how I break down concept into easy manageable chunks, and then I manage through it. So I look at sections of the paintings, I treat those sections, and then I try to make sure I connect the big shapes. So there's always, it's connecting to different shapes, but I'm also treating shapes. Don't see the painting as a whole, if you know what I mean. So we're just trying to think section by section, treat, in this case, building by building, and then but making sure the bigger shapes are connected, either the shadows or the colors, they are connected, and then they are still quite wet so that there is a nice soft edge where it's needed, and then also dry brush strokes where it's not needed. There's so many interesting things going on, especially in the AI world. The quality of AI models is fantastic, and I feel that's a good thing. There's the paintings and everything else which is created by AI. It's going to be so good, but people will crave for man-made or paintings which has some errors. People want to do it on themselves, no matter how much they can get. It's like a smartwatch versus a classic mechanical Swiss watch. There is still a human connection. I feel when I talk to a lot of artists, they are some of them are worried. Some of them, they worry that they're going to lose their livelihood. I think it's a good thing. People will get what they want, but for somebody who is true, who likes the human value in the painting, will learn, will pay for it, and then because this is a time-consuming process, it's going to be appreciated, provided you continue with your art and then do a good job. So again, I'm keeping warmer tones, and I'm making it darker either by mixing in some ultramarine blue, or in this case I'm using Payne's gray. Payne's gray is a cool gray. Paynes, Paynes gray. And then sometimes also, not in this palette, I have another John Pike bigger palette. I have neutral tint, which is a warmer gray. So if the painting is very cool, I tend to use neutral grays to add some warmth into the painting. So I'm slowly coming through people. The background is almost done. I'm just cleaning up the shapes. They have the reflection from the lights. And I'm just using warm tones to outline. So basically what I'm trying to do is a negative sketch of people. And we can go from there. So, huge colors. I'm just using a little bit of warm faces. Again, we're just suggesting it. I don't know whether you're picking it up. It's still wet, so there's a little bit of red paint or the cadmium red running into the gray. So that kind of gives a nice mix of cool and warm colors, and very little water. So keep in mind the second stage or the third stage, there's less and less water, and then we are trying to be as heavy in pigment as possible. Yeah. So I know a lot of people think about why watercolor as a little bit of wishy-washy, very light and very dull. It doesn't have to be. Look at this painting. This painting is as strong or even stronger than a lot of oil or acrylic painting. You can make it as strong as possible. And then also these are professional quality pigments. They will last for a very long time. That's the way I try to think about painting and other things. So right now I'm just adding a couple of details. Unfortunately, my hands are covering. Hopefully you can see it in a second. I'm just adding some structures. In this case, there's a light pole or a street lamp. And this painting is under 30 minutes. So this one, I think, is about 26 minutes. I'm just using a rigger at the moment. Adding a couple of electric lines. This is more like a Southeast Asian place. A lot of hustle, a lot of bustle. There's some lines going on. Again, I'm just using lots of darks, highlighting a few areas. I'm getting very close to finishing this painting. Maybe there's another 2 or 3 minutes of painting. I know for sure it's 2 or 3 minutes of painting is because I can see there is 3 minutes of painting. So, but I'm just trying. And then also look at how I'm holding the brush. I think when you look at other artists, more than what they're saying is also see how they're holding the brush, right? I'm holding in the back of the brush, I'm not trying to hold it like a pen or a paper. I just want some dynamic, quick, big brush strokes. You can get them by holding the brush a little away so that you can do quick, sharp movements. And if you're doing like a very illustration, then probably you draw it and then you can do it. So I have signed it. It's a little wet, it's bleeding, but I can see I'm going to quickly dry the painting. Am I drying the painting? I think so. Oh, I'm using a little bit of highlight. So the other trick or a little bit of cheat code to use white is the Chinese white and the titanium white are there a little bit opaque. So if you want to get a strong white, use a gouache. So I'm using a permanent ultramarine, not ultramarine, sorry. I'm using a gouache. This one, the one I have is a Winsor Newton permanent white gouache. So that one is fantastic. It's just the only cheat code I think you want when you're doing a highlight is using a gouache. And if you want a little bit of warmer color, you can use this one and then mix a tiny bit of yellow or a little bit of red to get those highlights. And then when you look at the people over there, even though I'd used such strong colors, now after mixing, or most of the colors have already been drained, now it looks a little more muted colors. And we're just adding some colors so that it's just catching on the people. Random place, I'm just thinking where else to add. I might add a couple of places in the foreground, some reflection. And this is again just final touches. This is the last artistic touch. If you watch a lot of art done by Joseph Zubik, he does fantastic work in terms of last extra antenna, wires and other things. So I'm peeling it over here. Unfortunately, there's no ASMR sound about how it sounds. It's a 1/8 of the sheet, but I think the painting came out very nice. I'm pretty pleased with it. So I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you again in the next class. Thank you and bye.